Good morning, everybody. Shane McCusker here, Intelligence Software. Welcome to another webinar. Today we're going to be talking about advanced sourcing techniques for recruiters. Popular subject. But before I do, I just want to give myself a bit of an introduction. My name is Shane McCusker. I run a company called Intelligence Software. I develop software systems for recruitment agencies. So that's CRM systems, applicant tracking systems, but ultimately systems to help recruiters make more money, make more placements. We focus on doing clever things and helping recruiters do clever things to spot opportunities, to find difficult to get candidates or difficult to find vacancies and make more placements. So all the sort of sourcing stuff that we do, the reason I got into sourcing was really just to be on the cutting edge of what recruiters do, so we can work out clever ways to work and then build it into our software. But ultimately what I try and do is just help recruiters make more money, make more placements. And if we do that through webinars, we do that through software, we do that through just helping out and passing information along, then very happy to do so. I have a bit of interest in social recruiting techniques. I have LinkedIn as my social media platform of choice, and I'm forever there. So if you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please do so. I connect with pretty well any recruiter who wants to connect with me. So if you're not already connected to me, please do so. I run a couple of groups. I run the South African Recruiters Group. I run South African Jobs Group. South African Recruiters started up really as a community forum for recruiters, and the Jobs one is really a community that I've set up for recruiters to post jobs on. And any job seekers, so it's growing at quite a rate. It's only been going for a month or two now. I write a blog called Shane Recruitment Blog, which is really just a repository for these videos. If you want to check it out, it's intel-sp.com/blog. I put a variety of stuff up there. I also get a tweet on intelligence spelt with a 1, and that's our website. So that's about me. That's the end of the commercial for today's webinar. Let's move on and let's talk about sources of information. Okay, now, to some extent, I was inspired to do this webinar because I wanted to try and create a bigger picture of what sourcing is about. And I'm not too sure if I'm going to achieve that, but I'll do my very best. I've done a lot of webinars looking at niche things, sourcing through Twitter or sourcing through Google Plus or LinkedIn or whatever it is, or some aspect of it. And these webinars tend to look at only one little bit of it. But what I wanted to do was try and do a webinar that would be a little bit more expansive, a little bit of a picture of what sourcing can be, really just to hopefully inspire you out there to try and take an interest and to push the bounds of sourcing and to see just where you can go, because it's an area of recruitment that I don't know where the limitations are. I don't know if there are limitations. It's one of those things that's just so big. So I'm going to start off really just talking about sources of information and all the different places that you can find stuff in. So whenever we're talking about sourcing, we're going out looking for information that's useful to you. Think of the vast array of different places you can go looking. I very deliberately I've put it first and foremost as your own database, your own information system. But referrals are probably one of the most commonly successful ways of getting candidates to hire, or indeed vacancies to fill, simply through word of mouth. You know people who know people, and that's one of the things that sourcing really has to leverage, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do. Job boards have still got to be up there in the mix, because job boards are still more successful for recruitment agencies in getting people than the other stuff that most people think of as social recruiting, which is the social media, using the internet, and then the vast array of other sources that are available to you. So let's go through some of these in a bit more detail. First and foremost, your own database. Now, a lot of recruiters, I find, for some strange reason, tend to think of their own information as not being as valuable as external information. You're constantly looking for the phrase fresh meat. You're by default going to job boards or LinkedIn or websites like that to initiate a search as your first step, rather than looking at your own information management system. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, but my belief is this is wrong. Your own information should be absolutely the first point of call, because it is your own information. It's collected from people who want to talk to you. They have registered, therefore it's easier to make contact with them. You have verified the data, or one of your colleagues has verified the data, in the sense that you've spoken to them, you've interviewed them, you've checked it out, you've checked references, referrals, you've got a history with them. One of the other interesting things is I was reading a post by Glenn Cathy, Boolean Black Belt. If anybody hasn't checked him out, check out booleanblackbelt.com, I think is what his website is. Look for Glenn. Glenn is one of the world experts in sourcing in terms of certainly writing about it and coming up with all sorts of interesting things, and definitely somebody to watch. He wrote a blog about looking at your applicant tracking system or your internal database as being a gold mine for candidates, because of the fact that, particularly older candidates, a lot of agencies view people who've registered more than 3 or 4 months ago as being irrelevant or not of interest to you anymore. But these people are actually more valuable to you. The older the candidate, one, chances are they're now a passive job seeker. Chances are they've got more skill than the first time they registered with you. If you can maintain contact with people, which is actually really easy to do, and if you don't, shame on you, then you can go with people on their career path. They get to know you and act as a referrer for you, both as a candidate and also as a potential client. So really, you've got to start thinking about your own internal information as the most valuable resource to you, much more valuable to you than LinkedIn or job boards or external information, which are fundamentally people that you do not know and do not know you. But the biggest reason that I think you should really focus on your own database is it has to be easier to search your own database than external information sources. And this is a little bit of a bugbear of mine when people go off and look at job boards or look at Google before looking at their own information. It's because you need to structure your own information in a way that it's easier to search. You need to develop tools internally that enable you to search. There's no point in getting involved in a source webinar if you can't find CVs that are sitting on your desk in front of you. So some of the stuff I get really passionate about, mainly because I developed the software to do this sort of stuff, is about developing internal systems to enable you to manage your own information. You need to classify and categorize your own information. You need to, the reason that you're doing this isn't so much to find it, it's to, the big problem in searching, and you'll see this later on in the webinar, isn't so much about finding stuff, it's about not finding the stuff you don't want. And your own information is the one section of information that you can determine how you classify it. You can't determine how you classify the internet. Google can't even determine how they classify the internet. They just go and troll results and will deliver 1 million results to you as if that's useful, but you only ever look at the first 10. Your classification structure needs to be simple. The simpler the better. I tend to use an example. When I ran a construction recruitment company, we divided our database between suits and safety boots, people who worked on site and people who worked in offices. And this is a silly categorization method, but it enabled us to divide the database in two. So when we went to search, we only had to look at one side of it. Obviously, we also divided it in lots of other ways in terms of qualifications, in terms of disciplines, but it meant it was just another way to cut down the database so that we only had to look at the small section of the database that was of value to us. Develop a tree structure so that you can go deep and you can, so if you say, okay, here are our IT people, but you subdivide it into developer support people and infrastructure people. You look at the developers and subdivide that into the different platforms that they develop on. You can develop tree structure and clever ways of structuring things. And the reason that is because you can have really good search tools. You want to have both Boolean searching, which is, I used not to use that phrase because nobody knew what it meant, but it's becoming so popular now everybody uses it. It basically means using the words and or, saying looking for this and this or that. Yeah, Boolean searching. So Boolean searching is what Google uses. It's what databases use, and it enables you to go and make sure you do not miss anything in your information system that's of value to you. But what's equally important is exclusion searching, so that you can exclude wide swathes of people. So when you're looking for a Java developer, then you don't find people who live in Indonesia. You're looking for an IT manager, you don't find people who've got the word it or the word manager mentioned on their CV. And of course, the other thing you can do is whenever you develop clever search tools, is you can do all sorts of really cool stuff that is just niche for recruiters. So you can find leads and opportunities and ask them really complicated questions that you can't just do with Boolean search or exclusion searching. And that's obviously the sort of stuff I get quite interested in. Right, enough about information. The biggest source of information, the biggest source of leads that you actually place are through referrals, through word of mouth. And one of the things that I continually advocate is that whenever you do a search, particularly for your own information management system, the chances of you finding the perfect candidate are not that high. Chances are you won't find the perfect candidate because recruitment is difficult. But what you will find are people who know the perfect candidate. So whenever you search, try and search for somebody who will be a referrer to the person that you're looking for and approach people on that basis. And it's much more successful if you contact people and say, listen, I've got a job, you're in the industry, can you help me find this person? You do that for 10 people, suddenly you've got 10 people that are searching their brains and their databases and their contact records for doing that. And they will respect you for asking their opinion to help you source and find people. So I always try and encourage people to don't look for the perfect person, look for somebody who's close and network through that. So the technique really is about starting as wide as possible and refining the search term. Social media is a fantastic source. LinkedIn, 160 million profiles plus. Facebook has got, I don't know how many million profiles worldwide. The web and social media, and when I'm talking about social media, a lot of people think of it more, whether you include Google Plus as one of the big three or not, I don't know. But LinkedIn definitely is the place for the recruitment industry hang out to go and look for people. Facebook is where the world hangs out. Unfortunately, Facebook's a little bit more complex to search than other things. Twitter is a lovely place to go searching for people. Twitter tends to be the place where candidates go looking for jobs, but the recruitment industry tends to be a little bit behind that. Recruitment industry looks for candidates on LinkedIn, but Twitter is where people look for jobs, so there's a little bit of a separation there, which probably needs to be addressed. Google Plus is the rising child from Google, trying to take on Facebook, and there are others. But whenever I started looking at this, have a look at this. This is a Wikipedia page. A list of social networking websites. So whenever I change screens, I appreciate we get a little bit of an interruption in my sound quality, so I'm going to stop here. Look how long the page is. Look how many different social media sites there are. There's hundreds of them. And, you know, an awful lot of these ones you won't have heard of. A lot of them are niche sites or involved in certain areas. But, you know, whenever you're talking about social media, there is just so much of it out there that you need to think about. But social media is only one small what the internet is. The internet is absolutely huge. If you think of all the different places you can get people from, whether it be their own personal pages, events pages, directories, club societies pages, the list goes on, professional bodies, forums, alumni groups. I've put down Prezi. A lot of people don't know what Prezi is. Prezi is what I'm doing my presentation on at this moment in time, where anybody can go in for free and create these presentation tools. But they're all searchable. So if I'm looking for somebody who's a nuclear physicist, I'll go on to Prezi, who's done a presentation on nuclear physics, and lo and behold, I'll get a list of connections of people that have presented on that score, and that gives you a list of people to go searching in. So any website or any tool on the internet is searchable, and there's all sorts of interesting things you can do there. What else have we got? This is also important from a sourcing point of view. A lot of people don't realize, they think Google knows everything. Google knows very little. It's only a very small percentage of the internet is actually indexed by Google, and all the other stuff is referred to with a wonderful phrase called the dark web, which is the stuff that search engines don't see. It sounds very Harry Potter-esque, which is one of the reasons I quite like the phrase. When you think about it, you know, I mean, a lot of the information you'll access through the internet is stuff that Google won't see. If you go onto a job board, you need a password to get onto it, so Google can't see that. If you go deep into a lot of websites where it doesn't want to be indexed, Google doesn't index it. Google only indexes what the web designers want it to index, or can stop Google indexing pages that it doesn't want to. So the vast majority of the internet, the vast majority of information that's sitting on the internet isn't available to you through Google. But there are ways and means of accessing it through other things other than Google or Bing or the other search engines. What else have we got? We've got a whole lot of stuff that isn't actually on the internet that is searchable. So from a sourcing point of view, there's all sorts of other places for you to go looking at. If I have time today, I'll show you searching through Skype. Skype is the second biggest community in the internet next to Facebook. I think there's something like 500 million people on Skype, and you can search Skype by people's names or their handles, and their handles very often tell you something about what it is they do and their profession. So Skype is such a wonderful search tool because it's so easy to connect and communicate with people through that. Okay, let's move on because time's against me here. I'm going to do some searching stuff because that's what people like. First of all, let's just use Google today and let's just go through it and try and find some stuff. I've got a little. Pardon me, I wanted to have that set up earlier on. I've got a little list of Google searches. I'm based in Belfast today, and I'm just going to do a quick search to see what comes up. I'm just going to look for CVs. I'm going to look for accountants in Belfast, CVs, and see what I get. Whenever I do that search, and this is a basic search, one, I'm getting, according to Google, 87 million results. Don't believe that number. That's absolute nonsense. Don't know why Google even bothers putting results. It just means lots. I scroll down. Lo and behold, I'm getting some things that look like CV director. I'm getting a pile of stuff. A lot of the results I'm getting, however, aren't looking for, because an awful lot of them are jobs. All the top bananas, Recruit NI, these are all websites that do jobs. So let's see if I can improve the search and look at this concept about searching isn't so much about finding stuff, it's about not finding the stuff you don't want. So I can improve this search to say, okay, let's try and remove some jobs. So what I'm doing is, if I use the minus sign, what it's telling Google is that I don't want to find pages that have job or jobs on them. And as soon as I do that, then lo and behold, a lot of these other job things start to disappear. And it's quite interesting how you can improve the quality of searches. I can also do things like, I can also see that there's some of these pages have career in them. Now chances are this is interested, please send your cover letter and CV. So that's also a job. Now if there's a career site, I can remove that. This is called a URL. It's that you type in up here, the HTTP bit. And Google has other operators that you can use to remove section to fine tune the results, and one of them is in URL colon, all in lowercase. If I type in career or careers, then I'm going to start getting web pages with career. Again, I can use the minus sign in front of that to remove those pages from my search result. And so I'm trying to improve the quality of my search by using some of these operators. I can also say, well, what if I wanted to say, well, here we've got CV director. So CV is appearing in the title of the page. Well, Google has an operator for title. I can go in title colon CV. And as I do that, then I'm getting better and better search results. Look at this. I'm now getting pages that say CV that are coming up here. Okay, so please, some help, please CV. But hopefully some of these people are going to start matching I can see I've got Belfast, I've got accountants, curriculum vitae, CV Belfast, accounting. So I'm improving the quality of my search result by removing the stuff or focusing in on the areas that I'm most interested in. And there's all sorts of interesting ways of working this and doing useful things with it. But let's look at this in a little bit more detail. What else can we get just from this Google page? Well, one of the things I get really interested in is that this is a search for websites. But let's, for example, say I wanted to look at images. Why would I want to actually go back and refine my search a little bit? I'm going to remove the CV bit of this. Because I don't want CV, I want account Belfast. And if I look at images now, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a whole lot of images that are associated with Belfast. Now, the first lot of these look as though they're just stock images of websites, so that's no good to me. But if I scroll down, more and more I'm getting images of what look like real people, like these images. And these are websites, or there's a team of probably accountants in Belfast. And if I click on that, chances are I'm going to get names of people. If I keep on scrolling, sorry, I'm doing this live, so I've got no idea what I'm going to get, but you know, these are accountants. So as you click on this, chances are you're going to get people. If I can improve that even more, again on the left-hand side of this image, so I'm going to appreciate it does sort of mess things up for you a little bit. You'll notice that one of the filters here on the left-hand side of the image search says face photo clip art. If I click on face, then what I'm going to get is I'm going to get images of people. Look at this. How are we doing now? LinkedIn. All the little faces tend to be LinkedIn profiles. And chances are they're going to be accountants in Belfast. I don't know where they are or not. But look how many different people I have. So if I'm looking for, there's Teresa Campbell, I know her. So if you're looking for people, she's an accountant in Belfast. If you're looking for people, this is a really good way of being able to get through the internet and find people quickly, because images, particularly with face search, is a really powerful way of being able to find people. And, you know, I haven't really done very much here. I've just said accountant Belfast. Okay, let's see if we can improve this web search a bit more, because At this moment in time, I'm still quite niche. I still have a sense that I'm missing a lot of people. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you one of the things that I want to do to improve this, which is looking at this. Think of all the other terms that you could use for accountant. It could be accountant. It could be accountants, like at the Institute of Accountants could appear on somebody's CV. Could be the word accountancy. It could be an accountancy qualification, CIMA, ACCA. Whenever I'm building up a search, if I just put words together, it effectively acts like an and. So whenever I do my search on LinkedIn, it's accountants and Belfast, or accountant and Belfast. So, but you can use the or operator to say I want this or this or this. Belfast, it could also be, somebody may also say on their LinkedIn profile, say rather than saying they're based in Belfast, they could also say Northern Ireland. And if I was looking for CV could also be called resume, it could also be called curriculum vitae, so I'm looking for the word vitae. And because of the fact that I always misspell the word vitae, I'm also looking for a misspelling of vitae. Whether you want to employ somebody who's as bad at spelling as I am is up to you, but sorry, pardon me, a little bit carried away with my selection there. So whenever I put this in, I'm going to get a much more interesting search result. Search there. And so it's about trying to go wider. I should get more results in this way because I'm keeping it wide. I'm using brackets to surround my or terms, and my spaces between brackets are effectively and terms. Whenever you're using ors and ands in combination, you always need to put in brackets somewhere, otherwise your logic is flawed. The other thing I want to point out here is whenever I said Northern Ireland was surrounded by quotation marks because it's a phrase, it's not a single word. And whenever you're looking for a phrase, I'm not looking for the word Northern and the word Ireland, I'm looking for Northern Ireland with one phrase. So it's important to surround it by brackets. And there's other little techniques like that. You get into just being a little bit more proficient about using this type of and or searching. Just sit down. I use Notepad here, which is just free on any PC, just to put together these different combinations of words and phrases. And again, if I move over to my images, then I'm going to get slightly different results and hopefully a slightly different whenever I go looking for the different people. It's probably worth your while to build it over time because as you change the words, if I remove accountant, I'm going to get a different order of pictures, probably. Not that different, but a different order of pictures, so it's worthwhile doing it. The other thing you can do is there's another character, it's called a tilde, and it's the one on the keyboard above a hash symbol. It looks like that. What that means is it's Google's way of doing what's called a semantic search, and what it tells Google to do is to take the word accountants and look for words that are similar to that. And again, that will subtly change your search results. You can see, okay, some of those images are the same, but there's. And whenever you introduce semantic search, it also enables you to get a wider search result, and that's quite useful as well. Okay, so what I've done. So I've talked about in URL, I've talked about, did I talk about in title is another one? I think it is when I said in title CV. And so those are some operators. We're using a minus sign, we're using a tilde to do semantic search, and there are other operators you can do. There's a whole raft of them. I'll give you a reference to a website you can go looking at. The other one that I really want to talk about today, which is great fun and very, very useful, is an operator called file type. File type, colon. I'm going to type in XLS. What it means is that you're asking Google to go looking for it. The other thing I'm going to remove is CV curriculum vitae because I'm not looking for that now. What I'm interested in doing is finding documents on the web that are Excel spreadsheets. File type. And this is massively useful to you. Every time I run this search, it's subtly different, so I've got no idea what I'm going to get. But if I click on this, what I'm going to get is an Excel spreadsheet, which is downloading. There's it downloading at the bottom of my page. If I open up, Excel spreadsheet gives me, I have no idea what this is, by the way. Just thinking about it. You'll see that I ran this search yesterday, and it's absolutely fascinating the sort of information you get off the internet. Use file type, and any file types will work. So this has given me some Excel spreadsheet, standard error recovery. I don't know what this is, but look at how many pages we've got. Information, CV 2 digits, so we're getting some, that's where the CV came from, but in this coefficient of variance. Okay, this is probably not what I'm looking for, but yesterday I ran it. This, I got an Excel spreadsheet with the name of an accountancy firm, graduate, I've got an address, I've got a contact name, I've got a telephone number, I've got an email address, I've got a website address of accountants in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and there's a big list of them. I was playing around with this yesterday. Think about this. Think about the sort of stuff that people put on Excel spreadsheets. One of the big things that people put on Excel spreadsheets is lists for people attending events or directory listings. So I looked at this search yesterday, which is effectively file type XLS. So I'm looking for Excel spreadsheets. I'm looking for a spreadsheet which has email, surname or last name or name, and job title and position, because I'm thinking I'm going to get a big long list of people. Whenever you put that in, the other thing I did was I was interested and I thought I'd go looking for a domain name. So I have F&B as a bank in South Africa, fnb.coza. I thought it'll be, if somebody is on that list who has an F&B email address, then they're going to come up on the list. But if I just take this search and put that into Google, let's see what it gets. Oh, I meant to remove the resume stuff. I don't know why I was still on that. Do that search, and you're going to get, well, 97,000 results, but they're going to be people and position and summaries. I did that yesterday, and this is what I got. I'm just going to show you, because this actually shocked me. This was a spreadsheet, the first one that came up, and what it is, it's somebody's contact list. Look how big it is. This was over 1 megabyte in size, and all it is people's names, addresses, contact details. Who's this one here? So we've got name, address, their businesses, all the information about these people. And you know, some people wonder why they get so much spam email. This is thousands and thousands and thousands of email addresses for people just from one Google search looking for Excel spreadsheets. Massively powerful thing to go searching at and looking at. Okay, what else have I got for you today? I'm running against time. I wasn't too sure to do it. Now, the other thing I want to show you, and I'll do this quite quickly, is Google custom searches. Once you get good at the Boolean stuff, it becomes a little bit complicated and you want to make it easier for you and easier for your team. Check this out, google.com/CSE. You can see it at the top there. This is just my control panel for Google custom searches. And I'll show you how it works. I'm going to create a new custom search engine. And what I want to do is I want to use this X-ray search. I've spoken about it before, so I'm not going to go into detail of it. But basically what a Google X-ray search is a way for you to say, whenever I want to search on Google, I only want to search one site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a Google Plus search, my Google custom search engine, sites to search. Anybody who uses Google Plus has a profile page, and it'll appear on the site. Search is Google dot. I beg your pardon. It's not. It's plus. Plus.google.com. I need to agree the terms and conditions, and that sets up my site. And so what it means is it creates a search engine for me, but that search engine only searches Google Plus. I'm going to have a default color scheme, which is fine. What else does it allow me to do? I also set up refinements. Now, in this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up add one refinement. I'm going to call it about pages, and I'm going to say in title about. Right, because whenever you search Google Plus has profile pages for all the people, and if about is in the title of the page, then it's going to give you some information about the work history. And just on preview. And what this does is it loads up basically a Google search bar. Accountant.us. Whenever I run that search, what I'm going to do, after all the advertising that Google Assistant throwing at me, all I'm getting is Google Plus pages that are, mention the word accountancy, Belfast, Account Studio. So we've got, there's Finton, there's Andrew, blah, blah, blah. At the top, my refinement. So it says about pages. Click on my refinement, and what I get is basically just their about pages. So I've got David here. It's give me David's Google Plus page. It says, well, he's in Belfast. Is he an accountant? I haven't checked this. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. I'll need to go investigating. But you can see he's married. What's his occupation? It doesn't give me it unless I say occupation, operation manager. Okay, he's not an accountant, but I dare say lots of the others are. What you can do with this is one that I did before. What's going on here? Intel-sw.com/search. What this is a Google custom search focused on LinkedIn. So if I use this one, my browser's slowing down to a grinding halt. I'm going to stop talking because I want it to. It's thinking about it. Okay, here we go. Accountant Belfast. Do my LinkedIn profiles of people that are accountants Belfast. I've got a refinement on this, which was my thought process for a vacant search. When you do that, it'll give you people that are accountants in Belfast who've just changed jobs. So you can see present to 1 month, May 2012. Effectively trying to give you a lead on for Dixie. Try that one out yourself. Intel-sw.com/search and see how you get on. I'll just put it up here so we can. Intel-sw.com/search. I was going to go on and talk about other things. I'm going to quickly show you 2 other things. Bing is a search engine which is similar to Google and very worthwhile having a look at. It gives different results to Google and works in a slightly different way. If you want to have a look at all the different operators for Google, just Google operators and you'll come to pages like this which give you a good description of all the operators. There are lots of them, but the ones I've shown you, which is colon, in title, in URL, file type, are the ones that I think are probably the most useful to you and the ones that I use most often. Bing has its own collection of operators, and again, you can go and have a look at that. So they are different to Google ones, so you have to have some understanding of it. Right, that's me for today. Apologies, I've run 3 minutes over time, my half-hour slot. Hopefully that was useful to you. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully we'll have more webinars in the very near future.